Hello.
Hi.
My name is Tommy Klein.
And I'm Lisa.
Cool. We have decided to create our own specialty channel specifically to post replies, video responses to the new Season 2 of Dorm Life. Last semester, Lisa and I followed each episode on a weekly basis.
Right.
Watching it literally at midnight on Monday mornings.
Yeah. Like hit refresh until it popped up.
And then we would call each other and talk probably for about 20 or 30 minutes after every episode and just kind of giving a recap of it. So this semester we thought we would just include all of you in on our discussion. So let's get started. This week we saw 2 new episodes. Lisa and I have refrained from watching the second one yet, so we have only seen the first episode.
Right. We don't want to be corrupted by knowing what happens next before we do this recap.
Right. We're going to get things started. And first of all, start by kind of giving a brief introduction of our initial impressions of how the characters have changed over Christmas vacation.
Right. Let's just talk about the introduction first. Because, honestly, that was probably one of my most favorite things. Was that Shane gave us the recap. Shane, of all people, who half the time doesn't know what's going on, is catching us up on everything that happened last semester.
It was very interesting because it seemed to me like he was recapping things in reverse chronological order.
Yeah.
Like the pita party came very last.
Yeah, the first thing he talked about was, of course, like all of the love,
right?
Like,
interest,
I don't know, unrequited love.
And the thing that I love about Shane that's really come to my attention recently, and definitely in this episode, is his misplacing of pronouns. By when he refers to, when he says, all of those died.
All of those died.
When normal people would say, all of them
all
died.
All of them died. Or
he
like
always uses the wrong pronoun.
Like in the finale of last semester when he was talking about, like, have you ever cared about somebody so much in the whole life?
Yeah.
He's just so...
No one says that.
He's just so adorably confused all the time. He's just adorable. Oh, talk about you noticed some differences about cameras and...
There was, I feel like, some cinematography differences, particularly in the button bonanza scene. I feel like there were just a lot more cuts than we normally see. I just noticed that, and particularly what was interesting was the fact that the characters were drawing attention to the camera crew, which is something that we never saw at all in the first semester.
Yeah, I don't know if they're just, like, trying to establish, like, in case you forgot, remember this is supposed to be a documentary. But, you know, Marshall, like, the first thing that he mentioned at their floor meeting was to be respectful of the cameras and, like, the camera crew. And then I noticed a lot of, I call them Jim Halperts, because that's, if you watch The Office, like, Jim is always kind of giving these looks to the camera. And I noticed a lot of that from Shane, mostly, and a couple of the characters kind of, like, winking at the camera, which we haven't seen. I didn't notice a lot last year.
Except when Gopher was trying to record his liaison with Courtney, and he said,
right,
webcams have to be plugged in.
Yeah, sorry, America.
That was the only time.
Sorry, though. Let's talk about the character.
Okay. We'll start with Mike. Mike, I feel like in this episode, really didn't take a very prominent role.
Yeah, in fact, I was saying, I kind of felt like Shane, you know, he kind of did the recap at the beginning and introduced what was going on. But I felt like we were kind of following Shane's perspective a lot more, where last year, right off the bat, we were kind of more following Mike's perspective. So that was
right. It seems like the main protagonist of the story is Mike. And you wouldn't know that necessarily from just this first episode. So
we don't really know what is going on with Mike, and we know that he learned how to do a one-handed push-up over break, and that's pretty much all
really
I got.
all that we know.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. We don't know how he feels about Brittany, but we'll get to that later. Okay, how about Josh?
Josh, I have so much to say about Josh this time. Last semester, we only saw Josh ever caring about Michael. And now, all of a sudden, he has sort of taken an interest in the rest of the floor. All of a sudden, he's interested in exposing the lies of Marshall and Abigail. Marshall and Steph, which is very different for me, because he's only ever been interested in, like, drama, art, just generally being weird, and Michael. And this time we see him going out of his way and really becoming more involved with the floor, and taking an interest in what everyone else was doing, which I think is significantly different from last semester.
Yeah. Brittany, though.
Isn't she your favorite character?
Yeah, well, I mean, of the girls, definitely. Like, I think, honestly, she's kind of like the person that I relate to, you know what I mean? And she's always kind of like on a journey. Like, I think we saw her do a lot of growing last semester, fighting with Courtney, which that's like a very typical thing a lot of college kids go through, especially girls.
Friends from high school.
Yeah, like you try to keep those friendships together, and you change when you get to college. And I think she kind of took a different path. She started to realize that she and Courtney wouldn't always be together, and that maybe she needed to, and like that she needed to not just be like the blonde girl's best friend. She needed to be herself.
Become Brittany.
I loved when she did the webcam about, like, she had just seen Josh's one-man show, and she talked about living her life as a one-woman show. I love that.
Like, just say what you need to say. And she, like, tilted her head all the way over the side. I loved that. I watched it, like, 20 times.
Yeah. I was kind of trying to say, like, oh, are you going to go to the button party because Mike's going to be there? It's going to be weird. And she was kind of, like, trying to play it off, like, no, I that's not why I'm not going. I just want to get settled in and stuff, but...
Lies.
As a girl, I can say, if she honestly didn't care about Mike, she would have gone to the button party. Because she's all for floor, like, unity and, like, doing floor activities.
Very good point.
But, like, I really think, I think we all know something is gonna... That story's not over yet.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think she's over Mike at all. All right,
let's move on to our next segment for episode 201. What is your thumbs up?
I think my thumbs up is for Danny B. Because I think that he has, redefined his relationship with his mom. He's keeping her at arm's length. But I think he's being responsible. He's kind of been from one end of the spectrum to the other. And now he's kind of finding a balance between the two. So I give him a thumbs up for manning up.
Good choice.
Yeah.
My thumbs up goes to Shane this episode.
Yay.
Simply because he took such a prominent role in this episode. And I'm just really glad to see him back.
Yeah, I think, we're just glad he's back.
Yeah. So, thumbs up for Shane.
Okay, thumbs down. You go first.
My thumbs down, you might not agree with this, but my thumbs down is actually going to go to Josh this time. Because I just don't know where he's going with this ratting people out publicly. Yeah. I just kind of don't agree with that. It could have been maybe done in a different way.
I'm going to say, and I don't mean this really in a bad way, but my thumbs down is kind of for Brittany. We didn't really see much of Brittany or hear anything about it, and I don't know, like, I just feel like she has a lot of things that she's going to have to deal with at some point. And she's not dealing with them yet, which is fine.
Yeah.
That's why I say, like, not really in a bad way, but it's just kind of like, I'm kind of disappointed that we didn't see more of her. Mm-hmm. And I feel like maybe she was kind of avoiding everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And maybe it's best to kind of confront the problems head on.
Yeah.
Because you're going to have to deal with it eventually.
But to do that, you have to get the courage to do that. And maybe she hasn't yet. Or maybe she hasn't figured it out, you know? So, okay, who to watch?
Who to watch for the next episode. Now, I realize that probably all of you guys have already seen the second episode, but this is for some people who maybe haven't. I don't know.
Like us.
Who to watch for the next episode.
Sorry?
My person that I'm watching during the next episode is Marshall. Marshall has a lot of explaining to do for himself in this second episode. We're going to have to find out whether he's going to, first of all, admit to their relationship.
Yeah.
I think he should.
Well, everyone knows anyway.
Yeah, well, it doesn't matter anymore. And second of all, is he going to kind of become more lax on the floor rules, which would be very difficult for him to do. Yeah. And that's why I'm saying we got to watch out. We got to watch for him and see what he's going to do, because this could be bad. Let's wrap this up and let's watch the second video.
Okay, sounds good.
All right. Bye.